Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Let's Do It Talk Show. It's your girl, Ladrine Howard Peterson, the CEO and founder of Do It, delivering on ideas and thoughts. And you know what I do in a nutshell, right? I help to turn dreamers into doers, and I do it from two aspects. I do it from the aspect of career development, resume writing, interview preparations. You having issues on your job, or if you're looking to switch jobs, I am your girl. And then I also do it from a business aspect. If you're looking to expand your business, you're looking for a marketing strategy, if you have some ideas and thoughts and don't know how to quite bring them into fruition, I am your girl. Here on the Let's Do It Talk Show, we were primarily created for entrepreneurs, right? Quickly, we realized that the entrepreneur was an entire person. So we talk about faith, we talk about finances, we talk about the future, and we talk about families and relationships. This show is families and relationships. So this episode title is When a Bad Situation Worsens. So we're going to talk about distractions, frustrations, as well as just people just it's gonna be an impactful show, and it's gonna be deeply felt. But before I get all into the show, y'all know what I do, right? I talk about my week and my weekend. So my week and my weekend has been everything. I had the opportunity to relax and vacation and do all sorts of things. I started out in Massanutten, but I ended up in North Carolina. And in North Carolina, the Ballantine Hotel, everything Ballantine was just wonderful. Had the opportunity to worship at Elevation Church. So you all may know Elevation Worship, the choir, the group who's in concert right now with Pastor Steve Furtick. Amazing welcome, amazing session, amazing everything. Hung out with my girl, LaShawn Reese. That's who I travel with. But if you saw my post today, we had like several family reunions because our family was up in there. We had visits. Food, amazing. From shrimp and grits to everything. Everything was just wonderful there. We went to the spa, enjoyed the spa. Spa was amazing. We were there from 8 o'clock to 2 p.m. At least I was. Showing funny pictures of babies and my sister Crystal and my niece Sky and other people who came on through. My daughters had a funny little issue with the baby. I can't even like go into details with that. But I'm telling you, lamb chops, all sorts of food. I had an interview earlier this week with Reverend Smith. Her show is Generationally Speaking. I can't wait to that air. And then I went out, had a nice little Friday night with the senior leadership team at my office. So we all just laid back, chill, and relaxed a little bit. So y'all know I've been on vacation back to back, but those were my pre-vacation. Me and my other big cousin, Sonda, we getting ready to go on vacation and looking forward to having a really, really, really good time. But let's jump into the topic of this conversation. Conversation it goes really, really deep, right? And as I was thinking about the title for this show could have had so many different titles. So many different topics are woven into it. And unfortunately, it's likely that pretty much on a daily basis, if not if a weekly basis, if not a daily basis, we come into contact with people who I think it's their assignment to wake up in the morning and ruin other people's day. Some people are just mean. Some people are hurt, and as they say, hurt people hurt other people. But for the life of me, I don't know why such people would even think of working in customer service. So it's going to hit on customer service a little bit, but then when you look at it from the opposite perspective, you have people who are cool, calm, and collective, right? But when they are faced with situations, they have options. They have options to either react in the same way that that person acts or deal with it in a certain way. Honestly, the situation that we're going to talk about, it goes deep. It's my cousin dealing with like a really traumatic situation. And honestly, had I not been a witness to the conversation, if he had told me what would have happened, love my cousin, all my life, everything, love my cousin, I would not have believed him. It actually shocked me when I witnessed this situation. So I'm not going to linger on about my intro and my feelings. I'm going to try to stay unbiased with this. This normally I'm really good at this. It's going to be challenging for me to do so, but we're going to jump right on into the conversation. Because Fritz Howard, welcome to the show. Excited to have you here in the studio with me. Saddened about the situation that you have experienced and the various things that you have had to go through. But it is necessary that we have this conversation and necessary that we kind of like express what you went through so that you can provide some pointers for other people. Shall we jump into the show?
Yes, sir. Miss Pam, I'm sorry.
Yes, look,
you
chill out a little bit.
I appreciate little cousin.
Right.
I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come on and make everybody else aware of things that you need to look out for when you out there. Period. Just looking at any contract or anything that you're doing with customer service, and just how to do your own research and how to try to make it happen yourself. So this actually about my mom death.
Right.
My aunt, your aunt, my mom, Rita Howard. So this started. My mom was feeling well. Saying she was really in a good spirit. We went down South Carolina.
Right.
I want to say June 23rd. She actually retired June 23rd. Went to South Carolina for family reunion on June 25th.
Mm-hmm.
So June 26th, I left actually my mom in South Carolina. Had fun. Like I said, she was in good spirit. A couple of days later, she had cardiac arrest. June 29th, I'm on my way back to South Carolina. I'm actually a dialysis patient myself.
Right.
So I was on dialysis 3 days a week. And in South Carolina, that was kind of rough, trying to get dialysis the whole time. I think I couldn't get my clinic to take me because of COVID, and that shows you how real COVID is right now, and lack of having seating at that clinic. So the whole time I'm down there, I'm trying to make sure my mom okay, like for 2.5 weeks straight. I'm getting sick.
Right.
So at the same, getting sick, I think I had dialysis one time, and I had to check into the emergency room. And the time I did do that, my mom coded like 3 or 4 times. So I was so scared to go back into the emergency room, and so I just stayed away for her.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because it's actually really two situations of customer service that went totally wrong, right? Yeah. So we're talking about your medical situation, and then we're talking about your mom's whole entire situation, right? The latter part of it. So with your medical condition, so you openly expressed that you are on dialysis, and while you were there for 2.5 weeks, you only had treatment once. What's the normal in a week? What's the normal number of times that you have dialysis?
Like I said, I go 3 times a week for 3 hours and 45 minutes apiece.
And so 3 times a week for 3 hours, but you have been down there for 2.5 weeks. and only one treatment.
One treatment.
But then it wasn't like you just had the treatment and they just accepted you. Not naming any names, right? Because it was a hookup, right? You had to get a hookup for a medical treatment.
Yeah, I had
so
to
talk to me about that.
Yeah, I had to call around, and I was calling around trying to get some type of treatment. And actually, a doctor from my mom's hospital.
Right. Don't say no names. Right.
He made some phone calls
right.
and actually got me into a treatment. It took me actually going through the emergency room. It took me 10 hours to get 3 hours of treatment. So it was a hookup, but at the same time, I had to do it. I was just doing what I had to do.
Right. No. And by all means, I was just saying don't get them folks in trouble. Like
right.
We had hookups. I might have got a TV or something else off of a hookup. But a medical appointment.
Appointment.
So just hearing your voice when you were like, Dream. And I could not, when I tell you I'm so serious, I could not believe it. And I'm like, how, what, when, and where? You was like, they won't. They refuse to see me because of this, that, and the other. Yeah. So hook up, or I'm good. Right. I'm good with the hookup. But even then, the magnitude of it taking 10 hours, you're in the emergency room, you're explaining to them because the doctor told you exactly what to say.
Right.
So that you can cut through and that they can go ahead and give you the treatment. But instead of that, triggers, aggravation, right? They began to question you and just talk a little bit about what you had to go through for these 10 hours in order to get your treatment.
Yeah, in 10 hours, again, I had to check in. And I kind of understood because they didn't know me. They didn't know me from, a can of paint.
Right.
So at the end of the day, so I'm had to go through all the things that everybody else had to go through as far as getting, blood tests,
right,
and things of that nature. So I went through the whole thing. The problem was when I got hooked up, that's when, again, the other hospital, because again, this is not the same hospital my mom was in. So now I'm at another hospital, and my mom's hospital is calling me repeatedly, hey, get here. She's coding. And I'm telling them to take me off, and they wouldn't. So I'm trying to get off the machine. It got so actual bad that when my time was up, I, trying to get out of there, I'm telling them, hey, let me go. They tried to admit me. So they was trying to admit me to a point where it got bad to a point where I just ran out the hospital. Actually, I ran out the hospital with the IV still in my arm just to get to my mom. And my mom nurse took the IV out my arm. So at the other hospital.
Yeah, so you got the hookup, then you ran away. You on the run. And we saying this in a joking manner to soften up the issue a little bit, but your emotions going on at that time. And we hear and we know and we truly understand that we're supposed to take care of ourselves first, right? But it's at the point where your mom's coding, so it's a dire situation where you're like, I can make up for this moment, but this is a very critical moment in a time. So definitely understand you being on the run. I'm playing cuz, but definitely understand like the various
things. I felt
things.
like I was on the run. They actually called me. Security called me back and asked me to come back. Because I had the IV still in my arm. I told them, no way, I'm not coming back.
Did you explain to them what was going on at the other hospital?
I explained everything, and it was again they tried to admit me, even after explaining that my mom is cold and I really need to go.
Right. And so what was the role that the facilities from DC, your contact people, because it was your people who give you the dialysis, your treatment center, and then there was the same name brand, but in the Carolinas.
Correct. They helped me as far as they could. We actually have they actually have a 1-800 number, a help number. And that help number actually called me back, and then they made phone calls throughout, South Carolina to the same facility to try to get me an appointment, and they were still told no. So they did as much as they possibly can. I just didn't understand, why South Carolina wouldn't take me. I was even told I had to give them 30-day notice, but I told them it was an emergency.
Right.
I really need to stay down here with my mom. I wouldn't leave my mom to
Right. Absolutely. All right. So let's shift a little bit, right? Let's shift a little bit. Mom's funeral was beautiful in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Everything taken care of. So you had it the what was supposed to be the first one down there.
Right.
Family down there got to celebrate her life, and that went well.
Right.
Uh, your goal was then to have a secondary one up here because she is the queen, the mother of Glass Manor,
Right.
Glass Manor Elementary, Glass Manor Recreation, all of that from
Everything
me
Glass
being
Manor.
little kid all the way up. That was
Right.
what she did.
Right.
So the whole community, and I mean hundreds of people,
Right.
was waiting to attend her services.
Right. Well, that's one of the reasons, and mainly because I just sat back and thought I was going to, bury my mom in South Carolina. Of course, and let me give praise to the South Carolina Funeral Home. They was beautiful.
Right. Yes.
They did a great job. They accompanied me in everything. They was just, terrific.
Right.
And as I was thinking about it, I was going to bury her in South Carolina.
Right.
But I was actually on my ride home after she passed away. I had to get back to dialysis, but I'm driving home thinking, and I was like, my mom, I know her really well. She would want to be buried here with her husband.
Right.
So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring my mom back home.
Right.
So that's why I called the South Carolina Funeral Home, and I made arrangements for her to come back home. Getting her back home was no problem, and I also had to make arrangements with, of course, the funeral home here that
Right.
gave me my bad experience.
Right.
It was not hard, like arranging everything to with the South Carolina people just having a funeral down there, and
Right.
and like I said, it was beautiful. And like I said, to get her back home was the number one thing because, of course, like I said, everybody from Glass Manor wanted
That's
Glass
right.
Manor Rita Howard funeral,
That's
of course,
right.
and they wanted
That's
to show,
right.
their love to my mom.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the transporting of her body. The transporting and the transfer went fine, correct?
Correct, because South
Correct.
Carolina took care of everything. for
Yes. So now let's fast forward to the point now South Carolina transports her body here. Another funeral home, which we won't name, won't name them.
Won't name
They picked up the transport, and then they were supposed to complete all of the remaining requests that you had from that point.
Yeah, so me and my daughter, me and my daughter actually went to go meet them prior. So actually, South Carolina drove my mom all the way to their door. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, just all praise South Carolina Funeral Home. They drove her all the way to to the funeral home's door.
Right.
Prior to me and my daughter went to go see the funeral home, and we sat down with them and discussed, having arrangements
Right.
for my mom to be delivered.
Right.
So, of course, they accepted the body, and we actually sat down. We talked about a contract,
Right.
What we may do and we may not do.
Right.
And it was discussed that we'd come back and do that. So once my mom body got here, I was in contact with the funeral home, and what we did, we made a arrangements.
Mm-hmm.
So we made arrangements for actually, I forgot the exact date, but it was that Tuesday. It was
Yes.
the next following Tuesday. We were supposed to bury my mom. So I was waiting to get the life insurance policy.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't have that. Of course,
Right.
taking a while to get
Right.
that. So I told the lady, as soon as I get the life insurance policy number, I'll bring it to you. So I got it that Friday prior to Tuesday. I went to go see her that Monday. And when I walked into the office, she told me that I was supposed to give it to her 72 hours prior to. So I was like, no, you didn't. You know what I mean? I called my daughter on the phone. My daughter said, ma'am, you never told him that. She said, well, he told me that he was going to get it to me the next day. I told you, no, ma'am. I told you I was going to get it as soon as I get it. So I got it that Friday evening, so I'm here Monday morning to give it to you. So she said, well, no, this is what you need to pay. So basically, she wanted me to, come out my pocket and pay cash.
Yeah.
She wouldn't accept the policy number for me. So I got up and walked away. I didn't want to argue with her. I didn't want to, start a commotion or anything like that. So I got up, walked away, and I just started making phone calls. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my phone calls, I discovered a couple of things. I called the couple of funeral homes.
But let's back up a little bit, and then I'm gonna let you go right into that.
Yes.
But the disturbing thing about this was, based on the date that she had given you, postings were out, everything was out, and unfortunately, somebody actually showed up at the the spot.
Several people.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that part out because of what you were going through, you weren't even able to reverse anything overnight because
right.
It was
it was impossible. It was like she had me in a bind.
Right.
It was like she knew what she was doing pretty much, as far as trying to force me to pay the money.
Right.
And like I couldn't go anywhere else. So
right.
Again, like I said, I just started making my phone calls. You know what I mean? Being who I am, I don't just accept just one person. You're gonna tell me one thing,
right?
And I'm gonna go find out, that if that's true or not.
Right.
So I went and made some phone calls, and I'm making phone calls around to a couple of cemeteries. I'm sorry, funeral homes, trying to get some pricing, and it was just as much as what this young lady was charging me as well, which I felt disturbing. But I did get some great advice from one of the funeral homes. So, this caused me to call the cemetery.
Right.
So, let me call the cemetery and let them know that the body is not going to be showed up the next day. So I'm talking to the cemetery superintendent. We talking, having a conversation, and he's really nice. You know what I mean? Really nice guy. We get to talking, and I'm asking him about, I don't know what made me ask him, but I asked him, what's the requirements to bring my mom's body to the cemetery.
Right.
And he told me it was the transport papers that came from South Carolina as well as the death certificate. And I immediately, asked him again, you mean, either or? He was like, nah, you have to have both, or we're going to turn the body around. This is Monday before the Tuesday I'm about to, have everybody come see my mom buried at the cemetery.
Right.
And I knew that they did not have the death certificate.
Right.
So now I'm trying to figure out how we even schedule the date for Tuesday for the burial from the same people that's trying to get money from.
So that's the major mishap number 1 or 2 or whatever number that you wanted. That was like crazy once you call and you put the pieces together yourself.
Right.
So go ahead and proceed, because then you made them aware that they weren't even prepared. If you had paid or no matter what, they would have got turned away.
Yeah, so I was livid, of course, you know what I mean, because I'm trying to figure out, how did they schedule this appointment? What was their plans? So, of course, they were closed. I couldn't talk to them at the time. So I actually, called, went on social media, actually, and I told everybody, hey, I try to catch as many people as I possibly can, not to come the next following day, because I knew that, now I have an issue.
Right.
So I called my daughter up. She really does a great job calming me down. So she calmed me down, and she's like,
might we be talking about the attorney?
Yeah, the attorney.
Yes,
my
that's
daughter,
what she does.
Okay. Allman, the attorney. Yeah, so she does a great job calming me down. That's like, my best friend. So she said, Dad, the body's still there, so let's try to work out with him.
Right.
So, I woke up the next morning, and I actually, not even bringing up a lot of stuff, bringing up the death certificate or anything. I asked the owner, the same lady who told me about the 72 hours,
right?
Same lady who, anyway,
right,
a lot of things,
right.
Anyway, so we talking, and I'm like, hey, let's just be, reasonable about this. Let's go over the contract and see what we can do as far as, making it work for both of us.
Right.
We talking, and prior to, I did mention to her that I was going to have somebody come pick up the body. So we talking, and while we talking, she just mentioned out of the blue, while I'm trying to work it out with her, she just mentioned out of the blue, hey, when you supposed to have somebody come pick up the body? And I'm like, hey, I'm sitting here trying to work it out with you.
Right.
You asking me about somebody you going to pick up the body.
Right.
I said, this is the problem that we have. Is there any way that you can have anybody call me back and, and I can have this conversation with them?
Right. Basically, can I talk to somebody other than you?
Can I talk to somebody other than you?
Right.
So because I was, again, giving them a chance. Mm-hmm. At this point, this when me and you get on the phone.
Right.
And me and you get on the phone at this point, and we're talking. I'm telling you exactly what's going on. I'm a little upset, and you say, hey, cuz, just talk to the person that called. So when she called, the young lady called. I won't say her name, but she called, and she just made matters even worse. That's when I clicked you in, and we was talking. So I've learned not to bring my problems to people. I learned to ask people first. The situation. I let them kind of bury themselves a little bit.
Right.
So I asked her. At this point, I've already called. I'm sorry. At this point, I've already called South Carolina, and I've got a copy of the death certificate.
Now, which. Right. You just have received, so nobody had it, which is a requirement for her to get through the gate. But you just received it in your hand,
and I'm the only one to have a copy of it.
Right.
Okay, knowing they don't have a copy of it, they don't get a copy of it. So I asked the young lady, "What do you need to bury my mom at the cemetery today? If it was going on?"
Right.
And she says to me, the death certificate and the transport papers. And what was crazy thing, because this is a young lady who was calling me back to talk about everything.
Right.
I asked her, well, can you look in the file and tell me if you have it? And she says to me, well, I actually don't have your file in front of me. And I said, well, how you call me back to talk about the file that you don't have in front of me?
Right.
So I actually, again, with you witness, I say, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, just come back to the file and talk to me. And what she says to me well, actually, it blew me away, and it struck the nerve at you, of course, because that's when you proceeded to talk, because she says, well, Mr. Howard, since we can't satisfy you, why don't you just come get your mom's body? And
that was it. That was it for me.
Take her somewhere else.
That was it for me.
Yeah. So that kind of hit a nerve real bad.
Yeah.
With me breathing everything.
Sorry. Yeah, that was crazy for me. And I promise you, had I not witnessed the conversation, I would not have believed it whatsoever. Yeah. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a small break, because the conversation was the peak of a lot, right? So let's you calm. Right. Let me calm down a little bit on the inside. No but just hearing that was, I can't even put it to words. I can't put it to words. But let's take a quick commercial break and come back, and let's just go dive in terms of the contract, the contradictions, and everything else that occurred from this conversation all the way up to the point of you doing what you having to do based on your learning and educating yourself, that this is, I don't have to go this route.
Right.
So let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. So, yes.
Are you interested in real estate investing but not quite sure where to get started? Do you want to get the know-hows on creating ongoing passive income using the buy and hold strategy? Hi, I'm Janice Bowles, licensed realtor and co-founder of B Premier Ventures, a real estate development and consulting firm where we buy and beautify distressed real estate, renovate it, and resell for profit. With over 15 years of investing experience, B Premier has extensive knowledge in rural land development, fix and flips, and rental acquisitions. B Premier's current portfolio consists of properties within Florida and Virginia. Our firm's services includes investor project consulting, project management, and group coaching. For more information, visit our website at bpremierventures.com and schedule a complimentary discovery session, or subscribe to our email list. It's free. Follow me on Instagram at Janice Bowles for additional real estate investing tips. B Premier Ventures, we buy and beautify.
Welcome back to the Let's Do It Talk Show, where we're talking about just situations that impact people and understanding the various things that go on with customer service or the lack of customer service. So today's show is when a bad situation worsens. And I'm here talking to my cousin Fritz Howard. And unfortunately, talking about some of the trials that you went through and the tests that you were put through, dealing with your mom's homegoing services, her celebration of life. And I've been there in terms of the grief part that comes along with it. That is more than enough. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. That part alone is more than enough. But to just keep having things piled up one after another. So we walk through the medical issues where you're like, my mom is in critical condition and I'm trying to be here for her. Can you care for me? Can you treat me? So you had that issue and you're determined, like, I'm staying by my mom. Right. And some things worked out, right? Rather it was you getting the hook up and being on the run, but it's still like God made some things happen for you. Right. But we know like the normal amount of treatments that you get compared to what you got, it wasn't even like a tiny component of it. So thank God that you're still here, right? Yeah. So then we get to this part, right? Beautiful service in South Carolina. Mind you, you have to run back up to DC, stay on treatment continuously to refuel your body back up, gather up everything, make arrangements, and then go back down South Carolina. But that worked out, right? So, okay, so we're good. Then come back up here. All of these various things. So we left off where we're talking about this conversation where you've already, I don't want to say cornered the lady, but it was sort of like a corner because they were not prepared, but they tried to bring it on you. And the only reason why you knew because you made phone calls and you did your homework about what was to be done. Right. So that's the importance. And we'll talk about contracts at the very end. But that's why one of the things that you stand on is read your contracts, understand your contract. Don't just take in anything that somebody else says. Right. But let's talk about this twist because we read the contract, right? I'm sitting up here like, cuz give it to me, I got this. You know, like the little nerdy one. I'm like, let me listen in, right? I'm telling you honestly, although I know you an honest man and you cool and everything, I was like, what he said does not make sense. Right. His emotions are getting to him. So let me be on the phone. I'm calm. I'm cool. And we'll work this thing out. Right. But I even got a surprise.
You got a surprise.
Yes. Yeah. So go ahead.
Like, making that trip back and forth, let me say that, I'm glass man or strong. That's how you can make that trip back and forth.
All right.
I ain't going nowhere no time soon.
Okay.
I said, running my blood. But anyway, so, after calming you down, because now you upset.
It's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it.
After still talking to you, I still was willing to, work with them as much as I possibly can.
Right.
And but I actually called the cemetery back. So let me call the cemetery back and just have another conversation with this.
Right.
This nice, superintendent that works at the cemetery.
Right.
So I was, just researching, just trying to, ask the right questions, and I asked him, what do I really need what do I need to bury my mom? So now I had both of the things that I need to bury my mom.
Right.
And one thing I did learn from calling around the funeral home, I can't, remember didn't see their names anyway.
Right.
But one thing I did learn that in the state of Maryland, you can act as your own funeral director.
Right.
So one of the charges that they was trying to charge me for was 3 different charges they were trying to charge me for.
Right.
And that's what we were going over on the phone with the lady eventually.
Right.
One of them was non-negotiable, even though I did not need them to do any of the things that was non-negotiable for
and
me.
Explain the reason why you didn't need it is because South Carolina was where you initiated, and all of those things were already done. So you didn't need it, but continue.
Didn't need those things. I did need them to, one of the things were optional, which were them being a funeral director at the gravesite.
Right.
And then the other thing was driving my mom to the funeral home. And that's all I wanted.
Right.
All I needed was, at this point, was to drive my mom to the funeral home, because then again, I found out that I can act as my own funeral director in the state of Maryland, being the next of kin.
Right.
So, I'm trying to explain it to them. Even the one that said optional, they would not let me.
Let me jump in. Let me play double dutch right here, because this was the piece where, so in order for us to maintain coolness, because I'm supposed to be your calmer, right?
Right.
But then they're saying stuff that's like ridiculous and chaotic. So every time it got to that point, I would let you ask your questions. They would respond. I would repeat back their answer and said, "Give us a moment, please. Let us call you back." Then when we got off the phone, I would go crazy. But here is the issue, right? And I know this is your story, but I gotta tell this piece.
Go ahead.
Here's the issue. So I'm like, Fritz, send me over a copy of the contract.
Right.
Again, I'm like, cousin, Miss Reed is something. He got a lot going on. I read the entire contract. I read the contract from beginning all the way to the end. At the beginning, I'm like, cuz I know that this was already done, but it clearly says that this is non-negotiable. You must have this. So unfortunately, you would have to pay for this again.
Right.
However, this second portion, it clearly says optional. I said, so when we call back, this is the piece that we're talking about, and this is the piece that we're gonna ask about. You can take it the story from here, because this is where it gets even more ridiculous.
Yeah, she told me, even though it says optional, black and white, that it was no such thing as optional. And I've been in customer service for a very, very, very long time. You know what I'm saying? Where I do, I work for insurance company. I do insurance, and I also do home loans and refinance houses. So I know that everything that you put in writing is very important.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even with text messages and emails, you got to be very careful what you put in writing. So I'm explaining it to them, and they just told me that what I'm looking at in black and white was not actually what the case was.
So you calm tonight. I'm calm, but I just got to say it this way. So when you asked her, you said, "So, ma'am, we read over the contract. I understand the non-negotiable. I understand that now. Although I pay for it again, I have to pay for it. So I understand that. The second piece, the optional one, I don't care for that."
Correct.
And she said, and she laughed.
Right.
That's what messed up my soul. She said, "You have to get A and B. You have to get non-negotiable, and you have to get the services under optional. I raised my hand virtually.
Right.
She didn't see me, you didn't see me, but I raised my hand.
Right.
And I said, "Ma'am, so just for clarification, we are clear on the non-negotiable. Frisch, you cool? Yes, I'm cool. We're cool. Everybody's cool on that. The optional, are you telling me," I said this exactly to her, "are you telling me that the option is not an option?" And she said, "Yes, that's what I'm telling you, that the option is not an option."
Exactly. That's exactly what she said.
The option is not an option.
Right.
The option, and I pulled the phone away from my ear, and I basically was like, "Get her, Frisch. You can say whatever you want to say. I'm not calming you down." But it was just like, you could not believe it. I could not believe it.
Right.
That piece right there was ridiculous. So then it was either, what are the options? Not being, no pun intended, but what are the options here? You either, one, accept the services, the misprinted, incorrect services, and deal with it so you can get it done with, or you take what you learned, what you self-educated yourself, and you found out some information. So share that, please.
So that's what I did. I took, just basically took matters in my own hand, and I was like, with the information that I actually have right now, I'm going to go ahead and call the funeral home, the cemetery, and I got approved to be a funeral director myself.
Right.
So at this point, I have a good friend. She runs a transportation company. So I called her on the phone. I was like, look, I just, and I thought about it again. A lot of stuff when I thought about it, I thought about my mom. And I thought about what my mom said. And everybody that know my mom was really, really, laid back.
Right.
She real loose.
Right.
And I was like, if I was talking to my mom right now, and I said, hey, mom, I got to get you to the funeral home. I got to get you to your husband, pretty much. My mama tell me, hey, strap you on your back to get me there. I don't care how you gonna get me
Right,
there.
right.
You know what I'm saying? She
Right.
wasn't no fancy type person that really cared about, a big funeral or anything like that. She just wanted the job done. So
Right.
I just knew that I had to do what I had to do. So, I called my friend and she was like, sure, no problem. The issue was, my friend did have a prior engagement already.
Okay.
All right, so the day it came, I had it scheduled for the following week. So now this funeral home, not saying names again, had my mom's body, and they didn't charge me. Actually, they didn't charge me anything. I guess that was the only good thing about it. They told me that it's either I take the services or they won't charge me anything at all. So I just let my mom's body stay there
Right.
into the next following week.
Right.
That I made arrangements for her, her burial. So again, my friend who had a prior arrangement was going to meet me at the funeral home at 10 o'clock to get my mom at the cemetery by 10:30. I was really strict about time. They had, the VA cemetery
Right.
had a lot of burials, back to back to back to back. So they, always busy. So they was like, you got to be here at 10:30. So I'm waiting at the funeral home. Me and my son, Davon and Mo, we just waiting to see if the lady gonna show up. It's
Right.
9:30 coming,
Right.
9:40. I'm
Right.
getting worried. She didn't call me, so 10 o'clock she calls me, and she calls me. Supposed to be there at 10 o'clock. She called me at 10 o'clock, and I'm not mad at her.
Right.
She had prior
Right.
engagements prior to me asking her, can she do this for me? And so we was actually driving by, just getting something to eat, and we was driving from the Wendy's or whatever, getting something to eat. And we was driving by the U-Haul place, and at the same time she was calling me, telling me she couldn't make it, and their plane was late from their prior engagement. I pulled into the U-Haul, and
Look at God.
yeah, and I never ever I don't know if you ever been in U-Haul, but I'm gonna commend U-Haul because they acted very fast. I got a U-Haul within like 7 minutes. And the U-Haul place was right across the street from the funeral home. So in 7 minutes, I was in the U-Haul, on the phone with my daughter. My daughter was calling the cemetery saying, hey, he's on the way. Please hold on to him. I had people meet me at the funeral home already. So we just got my mom's body, put her in the U-Haul, and I had to be there in like 15 minutes, and it was the wildest ride of my life.
I can understand. I can definitely understand. So how it turned out to be, the timing of everything, very non-traditional, because this was not your plan at all. You tried to coordinate, tried to do all these things, but at the end of the day, you made it just in the nick of time. And here's the beauty of it. Although you were gonna do like the gravesite burial, you had already planned to do the celebration of life at the community center.
Right.
So you still was going to give people the opportunity to come out and celebrate. So that's why, and my words not yours, the burial ceremony and the circumstances and all of the situation to go around it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Like I said, after that, like I said, that ride, it was actually a ride of closure because when I left my mom, she was feeling well, and in 2 weeks I was down there, she was in a coma. I never got a chance to talk to her.
Right.
So the ride, I just talked to her. I could smell her, and excuse me a second.
No, you good.
Yeah,
You good.
It felt like she was there with me still.
Right.
So it was cool. I mean, it was a blessing actually.
Right.
To actually have that time with her before I was actually, put her in the ground with her husband. Got her to the funeral home. I mean, the burial site, and I just felt relief. You know what I'm saying? Everything was just like in place at that point. And I had to give again my Glass Manor people and her family. She worked for the Glass Manor as well as she worked for the PG County School Department for a year. So I had to give them a service for Mama Howard.
That's right. That's right.
Mama Howard has threatened a lot of kids back in the day. Now grown.
I couldn't believe that. So let's talk about her service. So us, me, and shout out to Sonda. Cuzzo is on the line as well. Our memory of Aunt Retha May, the nicest, prettiest, most kind person ever. So when everybody kept getting up talking, I was like, who are they talking about? Not my aunt. So that was like amazing to hear.
She was sweet at home, but tell me, she's straight.
I hear.
She was sweet at school too.
But
she just had her ways, and that's why everybody just fell in love with her. And she was a substitute teacher at the Glass Manor, but she mainly was the evening care for if you couldn't go home, you had to go to my mom. So for 30 plus years, she watched a lot of us. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying, she actually people that I grew up with, saying, hey, I remember your mom this and your mom that. And she, hired a lot of people in the neighborhood, to come work with us.
Right.
She ran the summer playground, so she was always, just around the kids all the time. Even till, she retired, she worked at Hillcrest Community. Hillcrest Elementary. And she had like her, she didn't do a teacher's age, but she had like her certain kids that she would watch, and they loved her at that time. After she retired, her story to me, one of the teachers told her, "You're not walking out here like that." He actually picked her up and carried her to the car.
See, there you go.
So everybody really loved her, and she gave a great service. You know what I'm saying? It actually led on to me, where my son Coach was coaching him. I sat back and watched him coach him, and he walked off the court and he didn't want to coach no more. And I took over, and then coached 13 whole years later after that, where I got. I got my own following. I got my own kids.
Right.
What I'm saying? And my cash apps always go off. You know what I'm saying? Coach Fritz, Coach Fritz, Coach Fritz. So, what I'm saying? I love my kids to death. So I took on the same, a different kind of role, but the same kind of responsibility with the kids, my mom.
And let's talk about that. Yeah. So, first of all, so many people got up and told their stories. They told their stories of her putting the fear, but also talked about that love and care. Rather, it was the parents, the actual grown students who are grown now, even the younger ones. But it was also her colleagues.
Correct.
Her colleagues just talked about her with the love and care. Of course, the family members, you and James, and y'all extended brothers. We know how many of y'all. We thought it was 5 or 6 of y'all for real, right?
Got extended brothers.
But it was that so you got the opportunity to celebrate your mom's life in this huge gym where she served so many, which was a wonderful turnout. Wonderful gathering, the candlelight visual, and all of these things. But let's also talk about something that you're doing. So, in memory and in honor of your mom, you're starting something. So, what are you doing?
Yeah, we're actually on what I am doing, and that's one of the reasons I'm on here. Is for, of course, I definitely want to talk about the frustration that I went through and all the hard things that I went through trying to just get my mom in the ground.
Right.
And what I had to do is, and the perseverance that I went through as far as, telling people, hey, you got to be aware of everything and you got to, know what's going on.
Exactly.
And then, do a little homework and just find out what you need to know on your own.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Don't just fall for what anybody tell you. I'm actually, I've been doing a couple of things in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
I actually joined the civic association in my neighborhood. Was woke up one morning in dialysis and like, what I want to do, more for my neighborhood, and I want to actually. I'm not into politics and anything like that, but I do want to do more for my neighborhood.
Do it. My motto.
Yeah, so I actually got into
Uncle Bup's motto. I realized at his funeral, I kind of stole his motto. I thought I created it, but go ahead.
I don't like politics.
Right.
I like the kids.
Yes.
I like doing things for people in the neighborhood. So again, first thing I did was a Glass Manor Day event, which again made my mom part of it. I had a lot of doubters, people that think I couldn't do it because my first time doing it.
Right.
I ended up having a parade. I ended up having entertainment from
Right.
jazz all the way up to go-go. I had HIV testing. I had vendors. I had food. We had a wonderful time.
Nice.
It was a wonderful time. Then COVID came,
Right.
which kind of slowed a lot of things up. And then I ended up having Glass Manor Night. I woke up actually. It was kind of wild because Antoine Brown, who run for state delegate, he called me and he was like, Fritz, you really know how to get a crowd together. And I was like, you know what? He wanted me to actually have a party, and I was sitting home thinking,
right.
And one thing led to two others.
That's right.
I'm saying, how can I get my crowd out, and how can I get everybody to support Antoine Brown? But it now became more. I don't want to support Antoine Brown, or support Fritz Howard.
Right.
That's
right.
So,
that's right.
So now I'm thinking about myself. So and what I wanted to do as far as take my dreams to another level.
That's it.
So I'm sitting there, just thinking about it, and I'm like, you know what? The way to get my people to come out, I'm gonna have Glass Manor Night, and we had the first Glass Manor Night, and the first Glass Manor Night was so successful. Probably like 300 to 350 people came out, and that was happened on May 12th, and that's right prior to my mom retiring, prior to us going out South Carolina for the family reunion and everything. So I came up with the second idea because I had so many people reach out to me that could not make it. And I was like, you know what, I just want to build my following up so I can actually have my following to try to get all these Glass Manor people to try to help me to bring back sports in the neighborhood, bring back, some type of structures, bring back some type of learning into Glass Manor. You know what I'm saying? So, and the reason why I do that, not to come off subject, we have such a bad name in Glass Manor from the past. I just want to, right now it's like a standstill, and I just want to put that good name in Glass Manor right now. So what I did was I said, I'm going to have another party. So I was going to have another party on July 22nd, but actually, unfortunately, my mom passed away July 14th. And I actually had her memorial on July, I forgot the exact date, but the memorial was better than the party. The memorial actually brought so many people, the right people to me. Let me say that can help me in my path of going the way I need to go, as far as helping the kids out and do what I need to do. That I thank my mom, because it was like, in a blessing. I lost my mom, but my mom still gave me so much that I needed to proceed in my dream. And so I'm doing a nonprofit.
So take a moment, tell the people, look in the camera, let the people know.
I'm doing a nonprofit. My nonprofit is going to be We Glass Manor, and We Glass Manor is basically going to be a sports nonprofit where I'm actually trying to bring sports back into Glass Manor. We do have sports with the rec center, but I do want to make it a little extensive where, I want to be year-round where we can join, AAUs, and we can be in Pop Warner leagues and things of that nature. So what I wanted to do is I want to get my nonprofit, We Glass Manor, in behalf of my mom, Miss Rita Howard, and bring back the sports to the neighborhood. I want to introduce soccer. I want to actually have a learning center. I want to do, if you want to sit down and you want to learn how to do chess, I want my Glass Manor people who grew up with me to kind of like get back to my neighborhood so we can kind of, make sure these kids are not in going around wrong direction. I'm sorry, and just put them in a nice path. I have some great ideas. One of my ideas is we all grew up in playing basketball at the Glass Manor Elementary in the back the rec center. And we played on the blacktop. And the blacktop, one thing you got to know about the blacktop, anybody who can relate to playing on blacktop, is that the ball always rolled down the hill, and we always had to run down the hill. Actually make you quit some games. Like, you know what, I ain't even playing no more. The ball keep rolling down the hill. So I want to actually go and redesign blacktop, and I actually talked to PG County Schools, where I want to make it like something like a Berry Farms thing, where people coming out from far and wide to come see. But I want it to be I want it to be at a kid's perspective. You know what I'm saying? Instead of from an adult perspective, have where we out here watching. Not saying has-beens. We got some great entertainment in DC area. That give us an entertainment that haven't made it to the league. But I want to start off with kids 11, 12. I want the next coach from DeMatha, Potomac High School, wherever high school that comes say, hey, where you gonna get your next kid from? Hey, let's go look at that tournament down Glassman. And I want to repave that court. I want to put scoreboards up. I want to just make it into another like Berry Farms, but again, not for the adults, for the kids. So I want to do things like that, as well as I want to do a community service organization in my neighborhood as well. These kids need community service to graduate. So I figure if I can, just
definitely
trade off.
Definitely.
I write off on their community service as a nonprofit.
Definitely.
And they can come, learn how to, do certain things in the neighborhood, like maybe plant some trees or do some bushes or whatever situation.
Beautify the neighborhood.
And just beautify my neighborhood. I want my neighborhood just looking, like it should be looking, like anybody else's neighborhood.
That's
What I mean? I want to be like Fort Washington.
That's
I want to be like those other neighborhoods.
That's right. That's right.
So I want to definitely change the aspect as the kids, for the kids community and the community, as well as, as far as making my neighborhood stronger and come together to make my neighborhood a more beautiful neighborhood to live in. I want us to, just to be talked about in another manner than, hey, remember those bad times in Glassman.
What this reminds me of? Do you remember? All right, so shout out to everybody in Southeast DC, Wheeler Road. When Serena and Venus Williams came to this brand new tennis court, Maya Angelou, everybody came in Southeast to this tennis court. Mind you, me and everyone in my neighborhood went to Hart Junior High School. The tennis court was right by the junior high school. And when I tell you, it made what we saw before look so different, from the trees, the greenery, the tennis court, the building that was behind it. It made it look a whole different way. Instead of walking and taking a cut going over the little bridge, I took the long route, and I will walk home to walk past the tennis court, because that inspired me to know that my neighborhood is beautiful. Now, when I got past the neighborhood, I had to go to Valley Queen, high rise, and all that other stuff. No shade, but it was that tennis court. So just imagine, like, what excitement and what inspiration this could be to young kids who are growing up, just to see these things that they have not seen before. It'll definitely be a way that you can change the outlook on something. So as we were going through the conversation, we were talking about pretty much external factors when you're already going through something. So I know I might be going a little deeper here, but I'm telling you, when you said that, my mind automatically clicked. It's because, like, your bad situation was different, so I'm not comparing Aunt Retha May's death and funeralizing with this. But that same bad situation kids are in, we can impact them by making it a positive impact or a negative impact. Negative impact, don't do anything. Tell them that they're not going to be anything. I'm saying this because that's what the media told all of the kids growing up in Southeast DC, right? But it's when you get that opposite part. In the interview I did earlier this week, I talked about the positive reinforcements. My mom always telling me how smart I was. I didn't even know what smart was. All of my teachers telling me how smart I was. And then some of them throwing the little shade. Sandra always said, Dream, the smart one. I'm like, okay, then I am smart. Go ahead. All right.
You smart one of the family.
But I'm just saying, those things inspire me and encourage me. The same thing can happen to the kids that you're doing. So
Correct.
Man, shout out to you and what you're doing, because here's the thing. You were already doing this. So it's not like a lot of people do nonprofits, right? And they come out the gate saying, I'm going to do this. You already put in so much work of proving. So when you go to write grants, you already have your justification and your story and your trail that will help you get to this point. Just like that man who came to you, he came to you because of your following and what you're doing. So you utilize your relationships and watch how it goes. And in the name of your mother, what an honor. So she's looking down, smiling on you, and every time you do it, it's going to make you that more excited to do. I mean, you want to do it anyway because you have been doing it as well, where you grew up and all of that stuff.
I know the importance of like I said, I know the importance of having actually a man in your life, you know what I'm saying, that's going to guide you the right way. And I've done that for a lot of, like I said, a lot of kids. You know what I'm saying? Just, even just having somebody just to listen to. You know what I mean? Somebody just listen to on the, just joking around on the court with my numerous of kids. Even just having them just come out the street for that 2.5 hours to come play basketball with me. Anything could have happened in that 2.5 hours. You know what I mean? That's where I look at it. So you know what I'm saying? But just imagine if if I had 2.5 hours and some right behind that somebody else had 2.5 hours, somebody has 2.5 hours for them, and they have not time. They won't have time to do anything negative out in the street. They will always be occupied doing something right. So that's what I want to actually get to. I want a coach to kind of scoop them up and say, hey, look, you're a good kid. You're gonna be going places. Instead of that kid out there,
that's
lost.
That's
it. Know that he's gonna be going somewhere, and by him knowing he's going somewhere, he's gonna try to put himself in the right direction. We all gonna do crazy stuff, and we gonna do bad stuff. That's part of growing up. You have to. You know what I'm saying? You have to do, crazy stuff because you have to learn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Y'all sure did.
What they said.
Psycho player.
We have to learn. Surviving is rough.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Especially where we come from, where we all come from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Our era, especially, and it was rough. So I don't want, the kids to have to actually go through that because that's not actually, it wasn't like, we didn't have an option.
Yeah,
but they do. They actually do right now these days. It was kind of rough for us back in the day, but now they actually have an option.
They don't understand.
They don't understand. Yeah, so I actually want, again, We Glass Manor to be my nonprofit that's going to actually, change my neighborhood and put my neighborhood in the right direction where people are talking good things about my neighborhood, not just, hey, you remember when Glass Manor used to be.
Let's make it happen, cuz let me know what I can do to help sincerely.
Yes.
And I would do that.
Yep.
Here's your box I've been giving you for like a month and a half. You like, what box? What box? This is the box I kept leaving in the car every time we connected, but that is the box. I hope that the tools in here help you with your healing process and really keep you going along. So I know you were shy at the beginning, but we are over time. So I'm gonna do my little closing piece, but I'm gonna do my mini clip. No apology. I love it. I'm just trying to tell you, becoming too short. So I want you to prepare a quick closeout with your contact information and other things while I do my last minute spill, and then you'll come in. Okay,
sure.
So. Pretty much. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. If you don't already follow us on social media, please do so. The social media information, we are Let's Do It Talk Show on all platforms. That's our Instagram, that's our Facebook, and it's our website as well as our YouTube page. A couple things coming up. Shout out to our sponsors, Fannin Financials, who are just doing a lot of things in the community. If you have not already connected with her, please do to get your budget and your affairs in order. Professional Credit Diva. Shout out to our girl Shanae. As you all know, we've been keeping her lifted in prayer. Her son transitioned, but she'll be back next week. And also Janet Bowes, B Premier Ventures. A couple things coming up. I am going to post on social media FDA Bridges to Biotech virtual career event. If anyone is looking for tips on resume writing, getting into the federal government, I'm one of the presenters, but the morning session is really for everyone. I'm going to post on my social media tonight or tomorrow. Any young kids, any older people, sign up. This event is for everyone. The morning portion. The second portion is scientific. And then Sweatpants and Chill. Shout out to Latasha Briscoe that is coming back up. It's the 5th anniversary, and we're having this edition at the beach. So it is going to be a wonderful activity, and I am presenting on Sunday. I'm still hosting on Saturday, but I'm presenting on Sunday. Haven't presented in a minute, so excited about that. And then also my book projects. We all heal differently. Still doing very well. I'm giving them out to people who, in lieu of flowers, to people that I know, but also selling very well, as well as the We All Grieve Differently. And then The Climb, my book project I'm excited about, is celebrating my 30 years in the federal government. So it will be out before the end of October because it will transition to my 31st. So, want to give you a moment, give your information, your last minute thoughts, and then I will do the final closeout and shout out everyone who's online.
Again, Fritz Howard, Allstate Insurance Agent. You can give me a call anytime you need. Also, I work for Empire Financial in Rockville. I'm a home loan consultant where I do home loans and refinance houses. You can also reach me at 240-355-5163. My email address is howardloans@hotmail.com. On Facebook as Fritz Howard. Instagram Fritz329. Also, very soon, We Glass Manor was going to come out with a Facebook page as well as website and things of that nature. Basically, like to thank my cousin for giving me the opportunity to come on here and tell my side of the story. It was a rough 2 months that I had to go through. I made it. Like I said, I'm Glass Manor strong as well as Howard strong.
Hey.
So you can't go wrong with both of them.
Hey.
So I just want everybody to be aware of that don't let nobody press you into things that you don't have to do. There's other ways. Somebody always tell me, there's other ways to skin a cat. So if you go about it and do your research, it's ways to getting things done. You just have to go out and find those ways, and just don't ever give up. Just stay true to yourself. Don't let nobody tell you, that you can't get anything done because you have to go their way. There's other ways, always.
That's right. Shout out to you, cuz. I appreciate you. I love you. I love you more. We always have this battle about we love each other equally. How about that?
Right.
There we go.
That's my little cousin.
That's my big little cousin. We are the same age, a little once. Sonda is on the line as well in the same group, man.
That's my older.
Your middle.
I don't know what to call her.
No, she's older.
Yeah. She's older, so she's the older big cuz.
See, he just makes up titles.
You little cuz.
I'll take that. I'll take that.
You do that forever.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in. Huge shout out to the family, Barbara Moore, also Sonda Hickman, brother Andre, Minister Andre said let him know how he can help. He has a food truck doing some amazing things. Andre, I saw you at the high school selling dinners. I didn't know which one I was coming to buy one. Let me know where you are for the fish dinners.
You can send me a text. Like I said, I'm trying to have a lot of events for Glass Manor coming up in the future, and I need all the help I can get.
And shout out to Marcella Stretch, and also Tamika Neek. Thank you for joining as well.
Neek.
And Sonda gonna say Little Miss Gifted and Talented. Our cousin could have let me in that class. I won't say her name. Rest in peace, Miss Moreno. But just so excited about like you coming and telling your story and what you are doing, and I can't wait. I'm so serious about you. Shout out to our other cousins who's doing their thing in Southeast as well with the nonprofit. Shout out to Taurus Phillips and Timmy Phillips.
Yes,
but to close out the show, again, thank you all so much. Follow us on social media. Coming up, upcoming shows. Next week is Money Making Monday. The ladies will be returning. They switched their month in for this month to allow Shanae a little bit more time. And then we have an episode called A Cry for Help. Last week you saw Monty Williams, who provided a portion of his story. This one is very impactful. Just coming up in foster homes and just doing what you have to do. And then, if you have not seen The Woman King, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it this upcoming Sunday. If you haven't seen it, go watch the movie. Inbox me on either IG or Facebook. Hopefully, we will be able to do something in this beautiful studio that I haven't been able to utilize because of COVID. I think I can do a small little something here. The numbers are going down. Go see that movie, The Woman King, and inbox me if you want to be a part of the discussion. That's the end of the show. So definitely didn't want to say it at the beginning because I didn't want to make you cry. Have a picture of your mom. This show is definitely dedicated to my auntie, Retha Mae Howard. No, she got married again. But auntie, may your soul continue to rest in peace, and may you continue to be a reminder to everyone to live their life to the fullest. So live every minute, live every hour, every day as if it is your last. So peace. I'll see you all next week.